the American people stand firm in the faith which has inspired this nation from the beginning. We believe that all men have a right to equal justice under law and equal opportunity to share in the common good. We believe that all men have the right to freedom of thought and expression. We believe that all men are created equal because they are created in the image of God. From this faith, we will not be moved.
Hello and welcome to the Freedom of Thought podcast. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Freedom of Thought is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps, and I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to this show. It is a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today, as of course, there's been a lot of crazy news the past couple weeks, and I haven't really been on, and I really apologize. Just been a busy schedule and such, but I shouldn't be too busy to do Freedom of Thought one way or another. So here I am with another Fire Pit episode, if that's okay with you. Talking about the craziness in this world, this country. Obviously, there's some interesting topics I'd like to get into in the future as well. Some, Christianity type topics that we can definitely get into. Of course, the conversation about Charlie Kirk and such, and the left believes it's all a bunch of propaganda. Of course, they're going to say that. After all the propaganda they, shoved down our throats during the quote-unquote Summer of Love in 2020, and when their reaction was the complete polar opposite as to what the reaction has been here, it's just further and further proof as to how one side of the aisle reacts to a similar situation, to a murder of an innocent person. The whole country isn't burning. There isn't psychotic things going on, including with what happened to the young Ukrainian lady, where she was stabbed to death by a minority. And it is what it is. Murder is murder, whether it's a minority doing it to a white or vice versa. Murder is murder, and to me, it's equal either way. It's not a good thing. It's equally evil, equally bad, not of God. At the end of the day, the man that killed the Ukrainian girl clearly had a demonic presence to him, because he was talking about well before the murder that he was hearing voices, and and it was basically like stuff about killing people. So what more do you need to know about that? That's a demonic presence. Like, what else could it possibly be? Similarly with the young man that killed Charlie Kirk, it's heartbreaking. Obviously a crazy leftist who was dating someone who was kind of in the middle of two different genders. So a confused person is basically what that is at the end of the day. And obviously God loves everybody, that type of thing. That needs to be known. It's just you're hoping and praying that such behavior will be, that they'll be able to come out of it. They'll be able to come out of it and live a normal life and not have to live in a confused state like that. That they'll be able to come out of being the biological person that they were meant to be. At the end of the day, if you understand what I'm saying, one way or another. Obviously, try not to get in too much trouble on YouTube, as obviously this show does go on YouTube one way or another as a audio podcast. Freedom of Thought 1776 on there. Please do give that a subscription if you could. It'd be greatly appreciated. Boy, this way I really picked up. It was struggling for a while, but sometimes that second little boost you give it, and kablamo, it ends up being a pretty big one. So it's kind of cool. But anyhow, speaking of fires and such, both of the murders were, innocent people being killed. One was, you could say, was a black on white crime, and whenever it seems to go in the opposite direction, crazy things tend to happen. And it's unfortunate. You don't wish anybody to be murdered, whether they're white, black, Asian, Native American, India, whatever. You don't want anybody to be murdered because nobody deserves to be murdered. Maybe in some cases, but in some cases, somebody should be put down because they have committed murders. They have been nothing but a problem from day one. Obviously, the killer in the whole Ukrainian woman's case had committed crime after crime after crime after crime, and his own mother said that she shouldn't be, his own mother said that the man shouldn't be released anyway. DeCarlos Brown, that he shouldn't be out of prison. Like, they shouldn't let him go. Like, he needs to be behind bars because something terrible is going to happen. His own mother said it, and well, something terrible happened. Zarutka was the Iryna Zarutka was the one that was obviously fatally stabbed suddenly on a bus for no purpose whatsoever other than she was a white girl. Like he said, basically, I killed a white girl. Yay. And it's just, obviously he was listening to voices. There's no reason to kill anybody regardless of what their race is. Nobody should be killed no matter what. So obviously a terrible thing that took place. But you notice how there was no riot. There was nothing. There's a reaction on social media just saying, yeah, remember her? She died completely unfairly. Totally innocent person just going home to her boyfriend after working at I believe it was a pizza place. It's just absolutely depressing that somebody could just go on a train or, like the train home, like a light rail, and be stabbed to death when just minding their own business in their chair on the light rail. Extremely depressing. It was close to Charlotte there, North Carolina, by the way. August 22nd, 2025 is when it took place. So, yeah, it's extremely depressing. But you're noticing there are no riots. Nobody's burning anything down. There are no demonstrations. There's no screaming. There's no yelling. There's no cursing people out. There's no saying that we should form a crowd and harass people that are on the other side. There's none of that going on. None of that going on. Like basically what what's her name was talking about years ago. How dare Trump supporters basically exist? What was her name? Waters out of California was saying that people should form a crowd and harass them. Basically, it's like, are you kidding me? Tell them they're not welcome. So absolutely disgusting and heartbreaking at the same time. It's just something that. There's no business there's no reason any of this should actually happen at the end of the day. No business. People shouldn't be getting harassed. People shouldn't be getting killed. People shouldn't be getting treated like garbage one way or another. And of course, that deranged individual is Maxine Waters. Yeah, one of the ugliest, meanest people ever. And I don't mean physical looks necessarily. I mean, well, I wouldn't date her, but I'm just saying she's too old anyway. But yeah, the attitude. It's the attitude that counts 10 times more than how somebody looks or whatever they are. It's the attitude, and the attitude sucks when it comes to Maxine Waters. But back to Charlie Kirk. Some people might think it's being drawn out a bit too much, and in some ways it feels like it a little bit. But at the same time, again, he had no business being killed. Like, what the heck? What the heck? You don't have to agree with his opinions. You don't. I probably agree with most of them, like more than most of them, we could say. But you don't have to agree with somebody's opinion and still live civilly, still live civilized, a civilized life, without even considering what the murderer did in his case, which is just, sickening and depressing, to say the least. And of course, that young man would be Tyler Robinson, only 22 years of age. It's just horribly sad and depressing. When you put two and two together here, that's 2 lives lost there. Do you understand that? That's 2 lives lost. You know why? Because obviously Charlie Kirk has been murdered for no reason at all, other than you disagree with his politics. If everybody killed people on the other side, there wouldn't be anyone left. Honestly, this place would just be like, we'd be pretty much extinct. You might as well call us carrier pigeons. Like, just shoot us all. Hell with it. Just shoot us all. Yeah, we're all done, And I shouldn't even joke about that. And I'm not really joking about it at all. I shouldn't use those terminology because let's not give them any freaking ideas. But I mean, it's like that. It's like carrier pigeons. Like, what happened to the carrier pigeons? There were, billions of them. It was the most populated bird on the planet in the 1800s. And people just started, and people just killed them for sport, and they got to have cheap food and all that stuff. And they went way overboard to a point that they were extinct. Like, they killed them all. Or by the time that they stopped killing them, it was way too late. There was like not enough left to repopulate, and they died off completely. Freaking sad. And that's about what it feels like the left wants to do to the right, which is despicable, disgusting, and there's just no freaking common sense to the whole thing. Absolutely none. At the end of the day, and again, the reaction completely different. Funerals, respects, paying respect. Thankfully, sports stadiums did that. Even the Vikings are going to do it. They didn't do it recently with Atlanta, but they're going to do it with Cincinnati tomorrow. I guess the Cincinnati Bengals. So it's better. It's better, way better than nothing. Let me tell you. Obviously, we were one of the most left-wing states in the country, so it was kind of like not really the hugest surprise that we were one of the last ones to do it, even though we did have a game last week after the event had taken place with Charlie Kirk. So figures totally, but appreciate the respect given all over the place. Jimmy Kimmel just obviously made an ass of himself, kind of making light of the whole situation, basically like it's nothing and unimportant, and then ABC putting the clamps down on him with his career. My thoughts on Jimmy Kimmel at the end of the day, I still remember him. The first time I saw him, he was on Fox 9, just Fox, NFL on Fox basically, which is Channel 9 here in the Twin Cities. Golden Valley is where I live, but in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis suburb, of course. I was like, he's not that funny. And that was way before I knew who he was, what his politics were, anything. I was like, he's not really funny. And it just kind of always stuck with me. And then it's like, wait a minute, why is he suddenly like one of the late night hosts? I mean, that means you're like one of the best comedians in the world, right? To be able to get a job like that. You're a host, you're a star, the whole world can watch you at any time, pretty much. That type of thing, especially in the day and age of streaming and such. It's like he's not that good. And then when his politics started coming out, and it's like 1,000% left, and it's like you can't poke fun at your own side once in a blue moon. It's okay to do that, by the way. Like even Dan Barrero locally said that. Dan Barrero, I can't name a single time he voted for a Republican. Basically, I can't, because you'd often could tell which way he was voting for each election. It was always Bill Clinton. It was Al Gore. It was you could just go down the line, John Kerry, and so on and so forth. He didn't vote for Hillary Clinton, I believe. I don't think he just thought she was like crazy, basically, or just like a really bad candidate. But he voted for her. He'd never vote for Trump, though, that type of thing. He did vote for Biden, and it's just every single election. Walter Mondale, you could go on forever. Walter Mondale when he was running against Norm Coleman for senator. And then, of course, Walter Mondale when he ran for president way back against Reagan. Like, think about that. It's pretty wild stuff. So, just saying, and even he said that, yeah, like Jimmy, you can poke fun at both sides. It's okay. Seriously, like, it's not funny when you're just only completely biased on one side the whole time. Like, the fun of it just goes away real quickly, because there's a possibility you can poke fun at both sides and be entertaining and actually even be liked. It's possible. Even be liked by both sides, and maybe your ratings will be better. But instead, nope, just one side, and even the own left got bored of them at times. And what did his ratings drop? More than 50% in a short period of time. So, over the number of years, his ratings dropped like 50%. That's a lot. So that tells you something about Jimmy Kimmel. Never really was a fan. I just didn't think he was funny to begin with. And that is not even about the politics there when it comes to Jimmy. He's just not that good. That's all at the end of the day. So that's kind of my thoughts on old Jimmy. It's also sad to think that obviously a lot of the left everywhere basically is assuming that Trump basically called ABC and said, fire this guy, where clearly it actually was just an ABC call from the get-go. ABC/Disney's call from the get-go here that this guy just isn't that good. He's really not that good, and now he's kind of going too far with things. He's just making light of somebody's death, somebody's murder, that it's just unacceptable conversation here. Like, sooner or later, it's not worth it at all. And, like, why keep somebody like this around? Now, he isn't even officially fired. He's just suspended indefinitely, whatever that means. So that can become one thing or another. We'll just have to wait and see how that all turns out at the end of the day. But it's just sad and pathetic that it would come to that. And you wish they just got rid of him even before he would say anything dumb like that. But that's kind of where we are as a country at the moment. And obviously it's a very divided country. You only wish that somehow, some way people could see the light that, well, these people really don't care about you. They don't care. And obviously there's junk on both sides like that where they don't care about you. If we could vote out the people that clearly don't care and are just there for a profit, basically, and there to take advantage and use the system to milk off of the taxpayers, versus, people that actually do care about the country and actually want what's best for the country. You may or may not disagree with everything they say and feel, but at least they might make sense to a point that you just might vote for them. You just might consider voting for them one way or another. So that's kind of where I stand on things right now. It's, it's frustrating that we're still in a position right now where there's hardly any unity in this country, and actually on both sides there's a lot of division inside the parties as well. You have the crazy radical left, and then you have the more realistic, maybe you could say, conservative Democrat types, and then you have the, I don't know, like you could say the deep state rhino types, the deep state rhino types that really don't give a damn about you. They're just about, big bucks, basically. That would be the Mitch McConnells, the all the Bushes. You could just say all the Bushes. It's pretty much impossible to deny that at this point. All the Bushes. They don't give a damn about you. And then, obviously the more Make America Great Again, Make America Healthy Again group, which a lot of us are a part of. And we are not a cult. A cult is something more likely where you wear a mask in your car, with nobody anywhere near you. You're walking all by yourself outside and still wearing a mask that's covering, 3/4 of your face. I think that's closer to being a cult than anything else. Just kind of living in fear your whole life, and maybe not even living in fear, but just kind of living in some type of a message you're trying to send, some type of a signal you're trying to show that you get it and we're all just stupid to you. So that's kind of where I kind of see that side of things at the end of the day. And, well, that's kind of where we are, divided. Just frickin' divided, kind of one way or another. And it's a damn shame that we are in that place. Sorry, I'm trying to add a new log here. There we go. One way or another. Not sure how that's going to work, but we'll give it a shot. Try to get the thin ones on the bottom and help them kind of fire things up, literally. Pun intended at the end of the day. So, and we're hoping and praying that somehow, some way, the Democrat stronghold of Minnesota and the Twin Cities and such, that there can be something done about it. That we can continue to vote city council members that may actually have a good message going forward, that might actually help the city versus just kind of sucking off the taxpayers, which is what the left basically wants to do at the end of the day. I mean, just imagine, just one little piece at a time, that somehow, some way, just imagine the Twin Cities somehow, some way becoming a little bit closer to pink versus cobalt blue. And just imagine the state of Minnesota becoming red. Wouldn't that be amazing if that could happen one day? The odds are against it right now, but with God's help, anything is possible. Look at what Joshua did. Look what David did. What did Joshua do? Joshua and Caleb. They didn't just beat Jericho. What did they have to beat? Did they just beat like soldiers and it's a big, tough, strong city? Yeah, it's a big, tough, strong city, but what type of people were in that city? Giants. Giants. Obviously, we could talk about that some more on Mysterious Adventures if I ever get off my butt and do that show. But giants were in Jericho. Giants. Yeah, they said they were talking about, they're as tall as cedar trees. How the heck can we beat them? People gave up and ran away. But Joshua and Caleb said, no, with God's help, we will win. And what happened? With God's help, they did win. They defeated the Giants. And several of them ran away, of course. Several of the Giants did run away and wound up in North America. Yeah, that's another piece of history that a lot of people don't understand. I think the next episode of Mysterious Adventures is going to be very Giant-centric, and I think it should be. I want to get deeper back into that again. I haven't done a Mysterious Adventures episode since mid-August, I think. Yeah, it was about my coworker that committed suicide. I called the episode Carl, which is not his name, but it's, kind of close to it, you could say. And because I don't want to give out his name on the show, it's probably not polite to the family. But the person committed suicide, and he was a very, very loyal listener and big fan of Mysterious Adventures. In fact, in a lot of ways, he motivated me to do that show more often, because he's like, gosh, when's the next episode? And with him gone, it's kind of like, it just doesn't feel the same, It's sad. I don't hear people asking, when's the next Freedom of Thought? I don't really hear that, even though I know there's those out there that love this show so much, like Gerald Soring, Mark Carlson, guys like that. I just bless you so much. Love you guys so much. You're the salt of the earth. And I mean that with all my heart. Donna out there as well. Me and her have a huge, equal interest when it comes to having a fire outside. Like, we just love that. So I bet she loves the fact that I do shows outside with the fire very often. Like, not all the time, but oftentimes a lot of these shows have been out by the fire, where that way I can still do the show and still enjoy the fire. So in studio can be really good as well. Maybe I'm more focused. I have more stuff in front of me that I can kind of bounce off of. But still, there's a freedom of thought. You get my thoughts out, and it's not just my thoughts, but it's thoughts of the American people. At least I would like to believe that a lot of us kind of see the world similarly, and that we want to believe that we can do much better here in Minnesota. Because that's a slogan I want to continue to say here on Freedom of Thought. We can do better in Minnesota, even though Freedom of Thought is a national to international podcast. Because conservative politics are wanted and needed everywhere, honestly. Conservative politics are everywhere. There's conservative Canadians, if you can believe it. You bet there are. What's the name of the show? Just Right? It's wonderful. Canadian conservatives, they're out there. Lee Hepner was a Canadian conservative, if he still listens. Hope you're still listening out there, Lee. Let me know if you could on the Facebook page. Facebook.com/Freedom of Thought 1776. On Instagram, it's Freedom of Thought 1776. Or wait, Freedom_of_Thought 1776. The Twitter or X is Freedom of Thou 76, because it's smaller. You can't fit everything. What's the other one? YouTube, Freedom of Thought 1776. So please like, follow, subscribe, whatever the heck, for all of those different social media and such. And obviously YouTube is like another source for podcasting and such, and videos, which I have done and will do more at the end of the day. Big shout out to Dave Carlin, if he's listening. We're both Reaganites. We work together at the same company. And he's lived in Golden Valley before as well. So great guy, just in case he's listening. Tom Holden, love you to death. We worked together years ago as well in the retail world. Tom Holden, yes, man. Me and Donna actually worked at the same place. She was there long before, way back when I was brand new. So that's where we met as well, in the retail place. About 21 years ago, if you can believe that. Tom, we're talking about right when I was starting podcasting. So way before Freedom of Thought. I started podcasting in 2008 with Purple Mafia, Timberwolves Explosion, and Brave the Wild. So he knows about those podcasts. With that said, just want to thank all of you so much for listening. God bless you all so much, seriously. Please put a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and or Spotify if you could. It'd be greatly appreciated. Anybody out there that has it, please do. Crush the like button, as they call it, on YouTube. All over the place. Subscribe to it. Again, it doesn't cost you a penny, of course. When I say subscribe, you're not paying anything. It's free. Just like YouTube, it's free. If you could, please. With that said, thank you so much. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.